What if I told you that the way you breathe right now is keeping you trapped in the same reality loop? And there's a HeartMath Institute study that proves why your personal growth efforts haven't worked. The moment you realize what's actually happening with each inhale and exhale, you'll understand that breathing isn't about staying alive. It's about becoming alive to your power as a reality creator. Here's what's fascinating about this research. Every human being draws approximately 23,000 breaths in a single day, yet 99.9% of these breaths happen in complete unconsciousness. You're breathing while scrolling through emails, stuck in traffic, lying awake at 3 a.m., replaying that conversation, rushing between obligations, feeling overwhelmed. Yet you never question why your outer world continues to mirror your inner turbulence. You keep trying to rearrange your external circumstances without understanding that you're broadcasting a specific energetic signature through the rhythm of your breath to every person within an 8-foot radius. But there's something even more profound happening that most people never discover. Your breath pattern is actually encoding information into the quantum field itself. Think of it like writing on the fabric of reality with every inhale and exhale. When you breathe from anxiety, you're literally writing anxiety into the field around you. When you breathe from peace, you're writing peace into that same field. The quantum field doesn't distinguish between your internal state and external circumstances. It simply responds to the information you're consistently encoding through your breath pattern. This encoding process happens at frequencies far beyond what your conscious mind can detect. We're talking about subtle electromagnetic emissions that occur at the cellular level every time you breathe. Dr. Fritz Albert Popp's research on biophotons shows that every cell in your body emits light. Coherent light when you're in harmony, chaotic light when you're in disharmony. Your breath pattern directly influences this cellular light emission, which means you're literally painting with light every moment of your existence. The ancient Essenes understood this principle and called it breathing the light body into existence. They knew that conscious breathing could actually restructure the energy template of your physical form, healing diseases that seemed incurable and extending life far beyond normal human limits. They weren't using wishful thinking. They were applying precise knowledge of how consciousness interfaces with matter through the breath. This is precisely why affirmations and vision boards fail most people. But there's a quantum mechanism that transforms everything. When you discover that each breath generates an electromagnetic field that either constructs your desired reality or demolishes it, you can stop battling your conditions and begin encoding your reality from the consciousness level. I'm going to reveal the precise 4-stage observer breath method that shifts you from being life's victim to becoming life's conscious architect. Plus, you'll learn the quantum gap technique that activates this transformation in just 0.3 seconds, making you the stable center around which reality reorganizes instead of being tossed by every circumstance. Each unconscious breath is a wasted chance to literally reshape your existence. Most people squander 23,000 opportunities daily. Your entrance into this physical realm didn't begin with thinking. It began with breathing. Your inaugural act on Earth wasn't forming thoughts, speaking words, or even crying out. It was drawing breath. Your consciousness entered this dimension not through mental complexity or intellectual sophistication, but through the elegant simplicity of rhythmic breathing. In that initial moment, you possessed knowledge that modern life has obscured. Breath functions as the bridge between your current self and your emerging self. Yet somewhere in your development, you learned to breathe like an automaton, rather than the conscious being you are. You shifted from soul-centered breathing to survival-centered breathing. Right now, become aware of your breathing pattern. Where does it originate? For most people, it's likely rapid, shallow, and concentrated in the upper chest region. This is what I term automated breathing, the type that maintains bodily function while leaving your spirit undernourished. Ancient keepers of wisdom understood something our contemporary world has forgotten. From the Sanskrit concept of prana to the Hebrew understanding of ruach, civilizations throughout history recognized breath as infinitely more than mere biological necessity. They knew it served as the sacred connector between visible and invisible realms, between matter and quantum potential, between human and divine consciousness. In these traditions, intentional breathing wasn't simply a technique, it was a portal. Egyptian mystery schools taught that every breath carried the capacity to activate distinct consciousness chambers. Ancient yogis realized that breath could transform not only your internal experience, but the actual structure of reality surrounding you. They weren't using poetic language. They comprehended that conscious breathing involves more than moving oxygen through your respiratory system. You're circulating energy through existence itself. Consider this truth. Every emotion you've experienced, every choice you've made, every instant of clarity or confusion has been accompanied by a specific breathing rhythm. During anxiety, your breath becomes rapid and superficial. In moments of peace, it naturally becomes deeper and slower. Your breath doesn't merely reflect your condition, it creates your condition. The distinction between automated breathing and conscious breathing is awareness. Automated breathing occurs to you. Conscious breathing flows through you, with you as an active participant in the dialogue between your inner landscape and the quantum field enveloping you. When you begin breathing with purpose, with presence, with reverence for this fundamental act connecting you to life force, something extraordinary unfolds. You cease being a passive receiver of whatever reality appears and transform into an active collaborator in designing it. This is where breathing becomes sacred. Every breath from this place no longer merely sustains life, it sustains alignment. What I'm about to share will dissolve the illusion that has confined you. You believe you control your thoughts, but you're actually imprisoned by them. Most humans spend their entire existence believing they are their mental commentary. You awaken each morning and immediately the internal dialogue commences. What needs accomplishing today? I'm behind schedule. I wonder about their reaction to yesterday's conversation. Perhaps I should check my device. You assume this mental voice represents your identity. But what if this assumption is completely incorrect? At this moment, while engaging with these words, I invite you to try something fundamental. Notice your breathing pattern again. This time, don't attempt to modify it. Simply observe. Feel the air flowing through your nostrils, expanding your lungs, then gently releasing. As this occurs, something remarkable is happening. You're becoming the witness of your breath rather than merely the one breathing. Now, while observing your breath, notice your mind's activity. It might be commenting, "This seems pointless," or "I'm doing this incorrectly," or "How much longer will this take?" Here's the profound revelation. If you can perceive those thoughts, if you can observe their arising and dissolving, then you cannot be those thoughts. You are the awareness observing them. This marks the emergence of the observer, the aspect of you that exists beyond the continuous stream of mental chatter. Imagine sitting beside a flowing river. Your thoughts represent the water moving past. Sometimes the current flows gently. Sometimes it rushes turbulently. But you, your authentic self, remain seated on the riverbank, observing everything pass by. You are not the river. You are the consciousness that perceives the river. Ancient wisdom traditions employed the metaphor of sky and clouds. Your thoughts resemble clouds drifting across the vast expanse of your awareness. Some clouds appear dark and stormy, worry, fear, uncertainty. Others seem light and fluffy, joy, enthusiasm, hope. But observe this carefully. The sky itself remains undisturbed by any clouds. It stays constant, spacious, unchanged regardless of clear or stormy weather. This observer consciousness represents your authentic nature, the part of you unchanged since childhood, the part that will remain unchanged until your final breath. It's the witness, the awareness, the silent presence that has observed your entire life experience unfold. But here's where this gets even more profound. The observer isn't just watching your thoughts and emotions. It's actually the creative force behind your reality. Every major spiritual tradition has pointed to this truth in different ways. The Hindus called it Sakshi, the witness consciousness. The Buddhists spoke of Buddha nature, the unchanging awareness. The Christians mystically referred to it as the Christ consciousness within. All were pointing to the same fundamental recognition. You are not your temporary experiences. You are the eternal awareness experiencing them. When you truly grasp this, everything changes about how you approach life's challenges. Instead of asking, "How can I fix this problem?" you begin asking, "What is this experience trying to show me?" Instead of resisting difficult emotions, you become curious about them. Instead of trying to control outcomes, you become fascinated by the creative intelligence orchestrating your experiences. This shift from participant to observer to conscious creator is what the ancient alchemists called the great work. They weren't trying to turn lead into gold in some laboratory. They were transforming the lead of unconscious reactivity into the gold of conscious response. The laboratory was their own consciousness, and the breath was their primary tool of transformation. Modern neuroscience is now validating what these ancient traditions always knew. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you actually change the neural pathways in your brain. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that just 7 minutes of conscious observation can begin rewiring decades-old patterns. Your brain literally starts creating new neural networks that support the observer rather than the reactor. But the observer state isn't just about personal transformation. It's about remembering your role as a conscious participant in the universe's creative process. When you're identified with your thoughts and emotions, you're like an actor who has forgotten they're in a play, completely lost in the drama. But when you awaken to the observer, you remember you're not just the actor, you're also the director, the writer, and the audience all at once. This is why conscious breathing is so powerful. Every breath from the observer state is like sending a clear signal to the universe. I remember who I am. I'm ready to consciously participate in this creative dance. The universe responds to this signal by beginning to organize circumstances that match your newfound clarity and coherence. Your ego mind, that voice of endless commentary, wants you believing it's in control. It constructs elaborate narratives about your identity, your obligations, others' opinions of you. It exists in constant commentary about past events and anxiety about future possibilities. But the observer exists only in this moment, in the eternal now where genuine power resides. When you begin identifying more with the observer and less with mental chatter, something profound transforms. You stop being reactive and become responsive. Instead of being overwhelmed by every emotion or thought, you can observe their emergence, acknowledge them, and consciously choose your response. This is where authentic freedom begins. Breath becomes your anchor to this observer consciousness. Each time you return attention to your breathing, you're returning home to your true self. You're stepping away from the drama of thoughts into the peace of pure awareness. This transcends spiritual philosophy. This is quantum mechanics in practice. The observer effect in quantum physics demonstrates that conscious observation literally transforms reality. When you become the conscious observer of your inner world, you gain power to influence and shape your outer world. Have you ever experienced moments when time seemed to slow? Perhaps during a crisis or in an embrace with someone beloved. Concealed in the space between your breaths exists a 0.3-second window where you can literally rewire your reality. Yet 99% of people never discover how to access it. Those time-slowing moments you just recalled weren't coincidences. They were glimpses of what becomes possible when you slip into the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, between breaths. In that suspended instant, you touched something timeless, something beyond ordinary temporal flow. You encountered the quantum gap. Take a breath now, but this time, pay attention not only to the inhalation and exhalation, but to what occurs between them. There's an instant, brief yet profound, where everything pauses. Your lungs are filled, yet you haven't begun exhaling. Then, at the completion of your exhale, another pause before the next inhalation begins. These aren't vacant spaces, they're sacred gateways. Ancient Egyptian initiates knew this secret. In mystery schools along the Nile, seeking students learned to enter these gaps with their consciousness. They called it resting in the silence of Ra, the space where the sun god paused between creation breaths. These weren't merely breathing practices. They were training in accessing the field of infinite potential that exists in every stillness moment. Egyptians understood what quantum physics now validates. In the space between one state and another, anything can emerge. It's like the pause between musical notes. Without the silence, there would be no rhythm, no beauty, only noise. Your breath creates this same sacred rhythm in your existence. In this quantum gap, something extraordinary occurs. Your usual mental commentary disappears. The constant stream of I should, I must, I need becomes quiet. In that silence, pure intention can crystallize. Not the desperate wanting of ego, but the clear knowing of soul. Here, your deepest desires stop being wishes and become instructions to the field. Consider this gap as creation's womb itself. Just as a child develops in the dark, quiet space of the mother's womb, your dreams and intentions require this sacred darkness to take form. Ancient mystics called it the needle's eye, that impossibly narrow opening through which infinite possibilities must pass to become reality. Most people rush past these moments. They breathe rapidly, think constantly, always moving toward the next thing. But when you learn to rest in the gap, when you can be comfortable in the space between what was and what will be, you discover this is where all true power lives. It's not about breath retention or forcing anything. It's about learning presence with your being's natural rhythm. In that presence, touching the place where intention meets infinite possibility. In the quantum gap, you're not attempting to control the field. You're communing with it. But accessing this quantum gap is only the beginning. Something deeper awaits awakening. Your body has been transmitting signals for years that you've been overlooking. Those ignored messages are literally obstructing your manifestation abilities. That deeper awakening I mentioned isn't discovered by reaching higher or thinking more sophisticated thoughts. It's found by journeying inward, by descending from the mental realm into the sacred territory of your physical form. Just as ancient civilizations constructed magnificent temples to house the divine, you too must build an inner sanctuary, not with stone and mortar, but with breath and awareness. Consider the world's great temples, Egypt's pyramids, Europe's cathedrals, the sacred spaces where people have gathered for millennia to touch something greater than themselves. These weren't built randomly. Every pillar was positioned with intention. Every chamber designed to channel and amplify divine energy. Your body is identical. It's already a temple, but most of us have never learned to inhabit it consciously. Ancient Egyptians grasped this deeply. They mapped the human body as a living temple with energy centers corresponding to different consciousness chambers. They knew that breath was the key unlocking each room, revealing not just the divine within, but also the stories, traumas, and patterns stored in the body's wisdom. If this understanding is resonating with you, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps this frequency reach others who are ready for this transformation. As you begin breathing more consciously, you might notice something intriguing happening. Certain body areas may feel tight, constricted, or somehow inaccessible. Your shoulders might carry the weight of responsibilities you've been bearing for years. Your chest might feel armored, protecting a heart that learned to close after betrayal. Your stomach might hold anxiety knots about the future. Your throat might feel restricted from words you never permitted yourself to speak. I'm curious, as you're exploring this conscious breathing right now, what are you noticing in your body? Share in the comments what sensations or insights are arising for you. These aren't merely physical sensations. They're biographical. Your body has been recording your life, storing the emotional residue of every experience in its tissues. That chest tightness might be holding grief you never fully processed. The shoulder tension could be carrying burdens that were never yours to bear originally. But here's the beautiful aspect of conscious breathing. It doesn't just reveal these patterns, it helps dissolve them. Each conscious breath is like gentle renovation work on your inner temple, clearing old debris, opening blocked pathways, restoring the natural energy flow that wants to move through you. What happens during this clearing process is truly remarkable. As you breathe consciously into areas of tension or holding, you're not just releasing physical knots. You're actually liberating trapped memories, emotions, and even inherited patterns that have been stored in your cellular matrix. Your DNA itself carries information from your ancestors, including their traumas, fears, and limitations. Conscious breathing can actually help clear these inherited patterns, freeing you from cycles that may have been running in your family for generations. Scientists are now discovering that trauma creates specific breathing patterns that get passed down through epigenetic inheritance. If your grandmother experienced deep fear and never fully processed it, that fear pattern, including its corresponding breathing signature, can show up in your nervous system even if you've never experienced that trauma yourself. This is why some people have anxiety about things they've never actually encountered. But here's the empowering truth. Just as these patterns can be inherited, they can also be transformed. When you consistently breathe from coherent states, you're not just healing your own nervous system, you're actually healing the ancestral line. Your conscious breathing sends healing frequencies backward through time to your ancestors and forward through time to future generations. You become a healing bridge across time itself. Imagine slowly descending through your inner temple's floors with each breath. As you breathe into your chest, you're visiting the heart chamber, the seat of love, connection, and emotional wisdom. As your breath moves into your belly, you're entering the power and intuition chamber, where your deepest knowing resides. With each breath, you're not just observing these spaces. You're purifying them, blessing them, reclaiming them. Egyptians built their pyramids to align with celestial energies, creating structures that could channel cosmic forces into earthly form. Through conscious breathing, you're doing the same with your body. You're aligning your inner architecture with the higher frequencies of love, peace, and creative power that want to flow through you. This isn't about perfecting your body or forcing it to be different. It's about learning to inhabit it fully, to honor the intelligence that's been guiding you all along, and to clear the energetic blocks that have been preventing your fullest expression. Once your inner temple is constructed, something remarkable begins happening to everything around you. Scientific research has proven your breath creates an electromagnetic field extending 8 feet from your body, meaning you're unconsciously influencing everyone around you right now. That remarkable occurrence around you isn't just poetic metaphor, it's measurable science. HeartMath Institute research demonstrates that your heart generates an electromagnetic field extending far beyond your physical body. This field changes dramatically based on your breathing pattern. When your breathing is chaotic, shallow, or stressed, your field broadcasts that chaos to everyone within its reach. But when your breathing becomes coherent, deep, and intentional, your field becomes a harmony source that others can actually sense. Think of your breath field like a still lake's surface. When you breathe from anxiety or rushing thoughts, you're like someone frantically splashing in the water, creating waves and ripples that disturb everything around you. But when you breathe from that peaceful center we've been cultivating, you become like the mountain perfectly reflected on the lake's calm surface. Still, grounded, and magnetically peaceful. Have you ever entered a room and immediately felt either agitated or calm without anyone speaking? Have you noticed how certain people seem to carry peace wherever they go, while others seem to bring chaos? This isn't imagination. It's the breath field in action. We're constantly transmitting our internal state through our breathing's rhythm and quality. Others are receiving these signals whether they realize it or not. Children are especially sensitive to these fields. They haven't learned to override their natural intuition, so they respond immediately to the energy we're broadcasting. When a parent breathes with stress and anxiety, children often become restless or clingy without understanding why. But when that same parent takes a few conscious breaths and settles into their center, the child often calms naturally, as if by magic. This field effect extends to every interaction you have. When you breathe consciously before difficult conversations, you're not just preparing yourself, you're creating an energetic container that can hold whatever needs to emerge. When you walk into your workplace centered in your breath, you're subtly influencing the entire atmosphere, making it easier for creativity and collaboration to flow. But there's an even deeper layer to this field effect that most people never discover. Your breath field doesn't just influence the people around you. It influences the very fabric of space-time itself. This isn't mystical speculation. It's cutting-edge physics. The work of scientists like Nassim Haramein demonstrates that consciousness and space-time are intimately connected at the quantum level. When you breathe from a coherent state, you're actually creating what physicists call torsion fields, spiraling energy patterns that can influence the structure of reality itself. These fields can affect probability distributions, making certain outcomes more likely while making others less likely. This is why people who meditate regularly often report increased synchronicities and seemingly miraculous coincidences. Think about the implications of this. Your breath isn't just affecting your health or your mood. It's literally participating in the creation of your reality at the most fundamental level. Every coherent breath you take is like casting a vote for the kind of reality you want to experience. Every unconscious breath is like a vote for more of the same unconscious patterns. The Tibetan masters understood this deeply. They developed elaborate breathing practices called lungta, which literally means wind horse. They knew that conscious breathing could ride the winds of karma, actually changing the trajectory of destined events. What seemed like fixed fate could be transformed through the power of conscious breath. Modern research is beginning to validate these ancient insights. Studies on the Global Consciousness Project show that when large groups of people meditate simultaneously, random number generators around the world begin producing less random patterns. The coherent field states generated by conscious breathing literally organize chaos into order, not just in human consciousness, but in the physical world itself. This is why environmental healing through consciousness is not just possible, it's inevitable. When enough people learn to breathe from coherent states, we'll begin seeing spontaneous healing in ecosystems, unexpected resolutions to seemingly intractable conflicts, and breakthrough solutions emerging from the collective field of human consciousness. You're not just learning a personal practice, you're becoming part of the solution to humanity's greatest challenges. Every breath you take from full consciousness contributes to the healing of our species and our planet. This is the true meaning of service, not just helping individuals, but participating in the elevation of consciousness itself. The beautiful aspect of understanding your breath field is recognizing how connected we all truly are. You're not just an isolated individual trying to improve your own life. You're part of a vast consciousness web. Every breath you take with awareness contributes to the overall field of peace and possibility on this planet. But this influence isn't something you need to think about or manage. It happens naturally when you focus on aligning your own inner temple. The field responds to authenticity, not performance. When you breathe from a genuine place of presence and peace, that genuineness radiates outward without any effort on your part. This is why ancient teachings often spoke of the awakened person as someone who serves simply by being. They understood that consciousness itself is contagious, that peace is magnetic, and that one person breathing from their true center can shift an entire room's energy. You've journeyed far without leaving your position, not across territories, but across layers of yourself through rhythm, silence, observation. The most accomplished people in history mastered something you've never been taught: how to access infinite power through absolute stillness. In traveling through your own layers, you've discovered something the world doesn't want you knowing. The most powerful action is often complete non-action. We inhabit a culture that worships activity, telling us more effort equals greater results, keeping us constantly busy, constantly striving, constantly pushing toward the next objective. But the field, the quantum field responding to your consciousness, operates by entirely different principles. The field doesn't respond to your effort intensity. It responds to your alignment quality. It doesn't care about your task lists or 5-year plans. It cares about your frequency, your coherence, your being state. The most coherent state of all is stillness. Not the stillness of exhaustion or surrender, but the dynamic stillness of a mountain. Consider a mountain for a moment. It appears completely still, yet it's tremendously powerful. It doesn't struggle against storms. It allows them to pass. It doesn't chase sunsets. It simply receives light. Rivers flow around it. Seasons change upon it. Yet it remains centered in its own presence. This is the kind of stillness that moves worlds. When you learn to breathe into this mountain-like stillness, something extraordinary happens. Reality begins rearranging itself around you instead of against you. Opportunities you could never have forced begin appearing naturally. People who can assist you seem to cross your path at precisely the right moment. Solutions to problems you've been wrestling with suddenly become obvious. This isn't magic, it's physics. When you're in a state of stillness and coherence, you're no longer broadcasting the chaotic signals of desperation, control, or struggle. Instead, you're emanating the clear frequency of trust, receptivity, and alignment. The field responds to this clarity by organizing circumstances to match your state. Consider a hurricane's eye. All around it, winds rage at hundreds of miles per hour. Destruction and chaos swirl in every direction. But at the very center is perfect calm, perfect stillness. From that center, the entire storm system is organized. This is the kind of stillness you can cultivate within yourself. Not the stillness of someone who has given up, but the stillness of someone who has learned to be their own life's organizing principle. The difference between control and alignment becomes crystal clear in this stillness. Control attempts to manipulate external circumstances to match internal desires. Alignment allows internal coherence to magnetize external harmony. Control is exhausting because you're fighting against life's natural flow. Alignment is effortless because you're cooperating with it. When you breathe consciously, when you rest in the quantum gap, when you inhabit your inner temple fully, you're not trying to make things happen. You're allowing things to happen through you. You become a clear channel for the universe's intelligence to express itself in your life. Tell me in the comments, what old pattern or way of being are you ready to release through this practice? What transformation are you calling in? This doesn't mean becoming passive or lazy. True stillness is incredibly alive, incredibly aware. It's the stillness of a master archer just before releasing the arrow. Completely focused, completely present, completely ready for whatever emerges. From this place, your actions become effortless and incredibly effective because they're arising from alignment rather than effort. But here's what happens when you truly embody this stillness. You begin to access what I call the zero-point field of possibility. This is a state where all potential futures exist simultaneously, waiting for consciousness to collapse them into reality.
So the next time synchronicity appears in your life, whether it's a repeated number, a message you needed to hear, or a moment that feels too perfect to be random, stop and pay attention. These are not accidents. These are invitations. Signals from a universe that is far more intelligent, responsive, and connected to you than you were ever taught to believe. Your reality is not happening to you. It's happening with you. And once you recognize these signs, once you respond to them with awareness instead of doubt, everything in your life begins to align. Opportunities, people, timing, and purpose. This is your moment to step into a higher way of living. Trust the signs. Trust the flow. And most importantly, trust the version of yourself that synchronicity is guiding you toward.